Hello, Luna.
She ends with just a smile. Good afternoon to you all.
Oh, she was listening at the fucking door.
She was totally listening at the fucking door.
Totally.
Don't we have stuff that protects that?
Yeah, the room is. You can't hear anything outside the room.
She's magically listening through the door.
She's got magic to listen through the door.
Look around for little flying ears. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
It's
do
like
not
prying
see any
eyes.
flying ears.
What makes you so happy, Luna?
Not too much. It's been a little bit more peaceful than usual around here. That's all.
I don't know about you, but we just
Raphael
had
looks
like
at
archdemon that we had to
to
fight.
Luna, yeah, when you completely incredulous, like, what?
It was like 2 hours ago we fought that.
Thank you,
God,
Luna.
that
We have
is
been doing our best, I think.
Extremely wrong.
What?
Pseudo
Oh,
dragon sitting on your boulder.
Yes, it is.
They're becoming
That
good
is
friends.
wrong.
Oh god.
Ugh.
Hey, Pseudo Dragon, that's my new friend.
Pseudo dragon.
It's the cutest.
Alright.
Yes.
You'll see people slowly pouring.
It's council time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Elrond. Too long. Well, I mean, technically we saw each other this morning, but...
You're always full of requests, aren't you?
Yes, yes. Work is hard, and we are fighting aspects of gods, so...
He seems to question it for a moment.
No, nobody heard.
Sorry, I've been quite
Oh,
busy. I've got a holiday coming up.
Raphael looked at him. I have bruises and a welt, the size of the drawbridge to this palace.
Maybe that is too much.
He sits
A
down.
drawbridge.
There is technically a drawbridge.
Alright, awesome. I didn't know we had a drawbridge.
Bear back a sec. I ran out of drink.
Maybe Raphael installed it because he wanted a drawbridge.
We
You
need
know,
one
Maybe it's part of the recent upgrades you did to the palace, remember?
to dramatically
of
hold
course.
the chain as it rises
Yeah,
up fighting.
exactly, stuff like that. You need that flair.
Yeah, the sewer dragon is next to a roller for some reason. Still spinning around, acting cute as normal.
Sure, it's allowed to do that.
I mean, we have a horse in here, so it has right.
It's not a horse, it's a Pegasus.
It's a celestial Pegasus.
A horse family, perhaps, but as much an avian as a horse.
But the council will now reach session.
Good.
It's unfair he has 23
The Archmage will look over to all of you. As per some of your requests, I have looked into, during the short time you were away, trying to examine, potential locations for the drow. Your location before I found was mildly inaccurate.
I see.
Due to information given to me by Ritherland, it seems one of the ley lines was being leaked for different reasons in the ritual, which is throwing off our projections. But I have a much better idea where the ritual is currently, being taken place. It seems to be right on the border between Quell and Selmont, not in the centre of Selmont, which should be a little bit easier for you to track down. Here, hoping at least.
Certainly something to go for.
He moves around papers. If you want to check on the map, I've moved the icon, but also made it smaller.
Sure.
But no.
Like to get marked like nearby villages and such, so we have an idea of how to... Maybe any nearby entrances to the Underdark that we know of.
That can be marked.
I think there was one near there, wasn't there?
There was one, yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing else I've been working on trying to find some.
It's odd that out of Forsaken Throne I have the worst memory. Like, I can't remember shit. But in Forsaken Throne I remember that there's an Underdark entrance there somewhere and you just like pointed with your mouse. How do I remember that crap but I don't remember something else?
Liana looks around. I also have some information. I have received petitions, which I believe I received a quick petition from while you were away from the Archduchess of Slovenia. It seems there is currently a territory dispute going on over the title of Duke of Turbine.
I have heard about this as well.
I have not heard of it. What is...
Well, during the dragon attack, the Duke of Telvine died, and he was the last of his family.
As law would be, the title revokes back to the Archduchess.
Which, of course, would go to her second son, not her first one, due to her first son not being able to hold both titles. However, there are two people who have debated the succession, therefore making it null until this matter is resolved. A Lord Greyhawk, a noble who married into their family several hundred years ago, and as a result is claiming that he has right over the duchy. The people are also petitioning a Lord Adrastus, a Sarenrae cleric, who...
I like this Adrastus guy. He sounds like a good guy.
The good cleric, you think? Huh.
The good cleric, yes. Mm.
Lord Adrastus, who has spent quite some time helping out the people during the rebellion and safeguarding against many of the Blues' forces. As a result, they are petitioning him to be the new ruler.
Would...
The decision, if the decision will either rage on there for a large amount of time, or it is the ruling council's decision to pass judgment on who receives the title.
It seems to be then that we should turn to our ever-watchful spy master. Tell us, what is the dirt on these people?
We should
Who do
pick
we
a
pick?
third option.
He opens his ledger and runs his finger down a page.
I like how he has all like the dirt on everybody just with him.
Yeah.
Bag of holding just puts out like a.
What's the dirt on
That
which-
ledger, man. That ledger.
Well, he has a mind palace, right?
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
He's got my plan. He's Sherlock, effectively. If Sherlock was
Well-
a spy master.
Well, the Archduchess's second son, who is rightfully by law, as far as we can tell, in line, at least at the current moment, without more investigation, he is known to be a renowned fighter and has served many times in the army, though the Salvinian army, not the Imperial one, but point stands. He has spent very little time around the noble circles, however, never being one to inherit. He saw it more fit to do martial training over, well, courtly glamour. The next is Lord Greyhawk, who through a little bit of digging up in the past, I have noticed his family indeed does have some connection, though a weak one, to the family, and could, in theory, be rightfully given some claim. Lord Greyhawk, I have discovered, however, has had interesting connections with the elves in the past, though the meetings are not exactly known. He has travelled there quite often to the various elven colonies and had diplomatic meetings. Still, it is difficult to discern what happened during these meetings.
Riff looks over to the elf of the table.
I don't think he
Cause-
knows everything.
It was with the elves on the foreign islands, not on the.
Oh, okay. Alright.
That's really
Oh, no, no,
racist.
he said that he knew most of the...
This man has
elf.
been to Africa many times. Riff looks over to the only black man by the That is not really.
The final one, Lord Adrastus, is very difficult. He rose to fame very quickly, and so not a lot is known about him immediately. He doesn't have a criminal record, from what I can tell, and his family's not been related with anything, at least from what's immediately obvious, any business that would be unsatisfactory.
Sounds odd that he...
The people were in quite a bit of love with him.
It seems, however, that it would be doing the Archduchess a very big slight. She is paying her taxes, and she's actually working very hard at the moment, as far as I understand, to help with the food shortage. She simply does not have money enough to buy enough food with her own funds to the people. She has actually requested a lowering of the tariffs on food imports for her people, which I do intend to go through with.
Raphael nods. I have also met the Archduchess, and she has made a very good impression to me. She has been very cooperative with my investigations, and she seems competent.
She
In
has
this
a.
case,
Sorry.
in this case, she would have most likely my vote, unless someone else would convince me otherwise.
She has the right by imperial law, and nonetheless, she also seems to, from what I could understand of her when I considered her request, we do have limited funds after all, that she seems to have a reputation generally of being very peace-loving, merciful, and yet still staunchly for defending the Empire's sort of laws.
Raphael nods.
During the rebellion, it is memorable, of course, that she did what she could to protect her people, meaning that she did not engage in war for either side. She did not indeed intend for this, think that this war was a war worth fighting for.
She certainly loves her people and has done much to protect them during the sordid affairs of the renegade mercenary company. One of the leaders, which we apprehended in that ice cave. She was key to pick up the reins when her father fell in the final confrontation with the mercenaries. All in all, she seems competent indeed.
I would vote for her as well, then. I do not know about this cleric. The people may like him, and she may be wise to choose to have him as part of the perhaps a local mayor of the town where he is working. So he can work with his people. He does not sound like a man who necessarily knows anything about running a duchy.
Or one that actually aspires to do so.
No. Perhaps we could do it with a recommendation that you bring him up in local governance.
Seems reasonable to me. We do, after all, reward citizen initiative, do we not? Raphael smiles.
Very much so.
Iana looks down the group. In the end, the final decision comes down to the combination of the regent and the Lord Diplomat, as this is under their domain.
Well, so we're in roll then.
Erolda is going to leave the decision up to you guys.
Alright.
Flicks her wrist and looks away bored.
Yeah.
No, yes,
She looks like, she looks
Raphael,
like she does
Raphael
on the picture.
smiles and winks at her, and she blushes, and it's all very fetching, really.
She hides her face behind her sword for a moment.
He long arms his
Behind
foot
her
and hands her
sword.
rose under the table.
Yeah. You know, it looks like she might be red with rage, but she's actually blushing. Don't worry.
Nobody else knows the difference. He's like, oh, she really mad.
Well, she's fucking mad.
Raphael's like, well, she's getting in the mood.
What diplomat?
Or
pissed
we'll
her off
we'll
now?
look to Zoe to hear her judgment on this matter. What she thinks.
She agrees with law. This sounds like a good idea.
I suppose you will report it to her then.
Sure.
Wonderful.
In which case, her family will control both duchies. However, only one member of the family controlling each of these.
I will then add now, as treasurer, that I have considered her request for lowering food tariffs. This will divert a significantly large proportion of food to her area, where they seem to currently be in a drought, furthering increasing the food problems we have in the Empire. We currently have a rather sort of scratches his hair, like looking a little bit sort of staggered, rather alarming food problem, especially with the alien colonies no longer producing any. This would divert a lot of food to her province. I do think it is worth it. Her people certainly do deserve to live, and she currently has tied hands. Doing this favor to her would also likely make her more arguable to hold the crown in high regard in the future.
Why do we have such problems with food? Is it only
So our
droughts?
colonies have not been producing, and we have general lack of food. The thought is, for example, that in the recent area, the orcs, when they arrived, has destroyed a lot of Emerician food production, and beyond that, it seems the Empire is somehow hit by you could say a large, almost as if someone had done a ritual of famine or some such, Food seems to spoil faster. Food is produced less and goes lost more often. Which
Didn't
simply
we
doesn't
take-
last as long.
Didn't we take care of the cult of famine?
Yes, it could be that the production begins to stabilize. I have not. We don't have any numbers from recently, but the hole in production, so to speak, will still be felt in the coming year.
If this was their doing, it would still have long-reaching effects until the eve of next year.
We cannot grow food all year round, so to speak, and our harvest season has been hit rather strongly, sowing such.
It is the largest complaint I've managed to get from the peasants so far. Keeping them under wrap with this is difficult, but doable.
I've tried to control it, trying to optimize the food consumption, trying to stabilize food prices and ensure that as few people did great profits from this as possible, but it is hard.
Acts taken by you while you were Lord Mayor seem to indicate you predicted such a famine to happen. As a result, your old Lord Mayorship, and now Zoe's, has been suffering the least in the city, at least.
Yes, I, back in my Lord Mayor time, did see these trends already and have since been working to try to prevent them. They're very difficult. I did purchase good, long-lasting food stocks for Northside with a large quantity of the money back then. We could, of course, impose empire-wide rationing, although I don't think we're quite at that point yet.
Such an act would be greatly disliked by the people.
Yes. I would be in favor for lowering tariffs and derogating more food to her provinces. She is in immediate need of food aid, as the dragon attacks seemingly targeted grain houses, cattle, these sorts of things first, to starve out the people. These attacks, even though the attacks have stopped, can still continue to cost lives of civilians. Are there any objections?
Guess
Okay.
not.
Massages his temples a bit. How is the food situation in the duchy she has now inherited?
It is very terrible. That is why she requires it. She requires it to feed those people.
I see.
That is the one that was attacked, after all.
Yes, the desert dragon, I believe.
Ordinarily, I think she would have diverted food from her own territories, but that simply is not enough in this case, as the harvest has been terrible.
In addition, her personal duchy is not one suited for farmland. It is great for mining and resource production, but food does not grow well in her territory.
Raphael nods. Well, we can't really let the citizens of the Empire starve.
Very well, then I will take the necessary steps to ensure optimal food transportation to the area, without, of course, causing due harm to anything else.
Except the treasury.
Yes, that sadly is hard not to burden. Then again, we have the money to use it.
I have some additional points to bring up from which I have studied the city recently. Asmus looks around, giving a piercing gaze to Riff.
Riff smiles.
It has come to my attention that the Prince Bishop has fell seriously ill to something which not his magic nor any other clerics in the city can break. Through additional study, I have found several eyewitnesses who can confirm claims of strange magic being abused near the city. You being used near the city. Some kind of powerful magic capable of destroying the force field surrounding the peak of the internal spire. The flame that was once up there and its wind barrier have been completely destroyed.
I visited the spire myself.
I assume you can confirm these statements.
Yes, it was certainly destroyed. Someone forcibly wanted to get in there. They did not use alchemy, as I'd feared. The bishop is unlikely to be suffering from a disease of alchemical nature. However, I did smell a whiff of, some type of blood magic, I think.
Confirmed from what I've been able to find. Searching through statements, they claim they saw a humanoid figure of strange black and white wings flying up beforehand. He stared daggers at Riff.
Does Riff have black and white wings?
She has her
Yes, she
weird.
does.
She has her weird, like, shifty wings, but they're not like striped black and white like a zebra.
They should be correct to call them black and white, however.
Kinda, yeah.
Um,
But blood magic.
So why have you killed the bishop? Like,
Blood
He's not
magic's not
dead.
Riff's thing. Like,
is he dead?
No,
not
he is
ill.
sick, violently
Wow.
sick.
Why
But-
haven't so been told about someone has been up there and the flame?
Seems very recent. I do not think anyone really had seen it. I simply managed to see it from down there and looking up. Being curious as to the disease, I moved up there to investigate. It was simply yesterday when we had come home that I had this hunch.
It's just that it's from that flame I got my power.
I don't think ordinary priests are allowed in the top of the tower, and you can only see it if you fly around it. Ordinary people don't fly. I don't think the clerics fly up there.
I have been up there once.
Riff will look to Alvron and say, this, like the amount of magic to do such a thing must be extraordinary, right?
To be precise, the kind of magic would have been needed, one, to bend reality. The wards up there were ones I could not break myself, indicating only one spell could do so. A
What
wish.
spell is that?
Wish. did you say?
Full-powered wish.
Wish.
Only few people in the Empire would be possibly able to cast such a spell.
It is certainly an interesting turn of events. Even with my power, conjuring such magic is a very tough challenge.
It's not like Riff can
Unless, of course,
go on.
some sort of blood magic was involved.
we do know of a person who uses black magic. Yes.
Who?
We do.
It's me. Ha ha ha.
Yeah,
The witch.
Blood magic.
What?
Well,
Riff doesn't use blood magic.
it is certainly of some concern.
I would have hoped that the beating we gave her would actually send her reeling for more than this short. If she is back,
From what I'd heard from your incursion with her, because I wasn't exactly around, it didn't really sound like you gave her personally a beating. Like her minions, wasn't it? It's just what I've like little stories.
We'll reach out to all the others mentally, and simply say, in his most sincere, we should simply want to investigate this later.
Apologize for the recording.
I was dropped.
Yeah, I dropped. Sorry about that.
You back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, continue.
Continue.
Raphael will get his something vacant in his eyes for a split second, and then we'll just lean back and don't say much else.
I think we will look into this. However, right now it seems we have not enough information to really conclude much. Jumping the gun is always dangerous, as there could be possibilities for such powerful magic being done in ritualistic forms, or in forms we have not even considered yet. I will personally go and see if I can find out more. As I said, I did find an inclination of blood magic, and I'll see if I can narrow down with some tests to see what kind. That should give us some answers. We'll need a little bit of time to do this. Yes, Luna?
You need to speak up, Luna.
I just realised I was on mute. I
But this is
have been
finger
trying
head
to
up.
keep an eye on the witch through my divinations, though she is probably the single hardest person I've ever tried to find. Though, from what I found of checking resonances of her magic, she has been everywhere. Her signals of her being have been everywhere in the Empire. Traces of her being everywhere, but never staying anywhere in one place for too long, seemingly not having any kind of base or of any kind at the moment. At least from what I can tell.
Keep working on it at least. It's good to know that someone's still watching out. Personally, I don't really have the means to.
It's very difficult, but I'll try.
Very well then. Let's see here.
After continued, the Elven ambassador will speak, or the Elven ranger will speak up. I have been continuing my searches, like you have asked, in various areas. I found a lot of drow activity. In one of the duchies recently. There's a large amount coming from the southern bays of Quell. It seems like they may have some kind of entrance there. Ships have been sighted somewhere off the coast with drow, though where they've been coming from is unknown. Finally,
This
it's noted
can be confirmed.
Finally, the encampment which we currently know of is confirmed there are not only normal drow there, but driders as well. Be prepared for poison.
That is troubling. Good intel, however. Keep that in mind.
I've been doing my best.
I have a possible solution for the what is the suggestion for the animation dragon problem. So I have spoken to the best of the on the point of necromancy, as it is. Sylvina, the Duchess of Necrotis, specifically. I have inquired to her as the possibility of making necromancy impossible within a certain area, and she does assure me that given funds enough, she can make a field that makes it impossible to practice any necromancy within a certain area. This could, if we find a dragon graveyard or some such that we cannot allow be desecrated, basically. This could be a way in which we could stop such animation from happening. I have also informed her to make sure that any experiments or whatnot will have to be kept under new imperial restrictions, making sure that they are done in safe areas where outside influences will not be able to occur. This was agreeable. This she was agreeable to.
For the knowledge of what the Archmage thinks of her, she is a trustworthy but radical and very eccentric researcher. Very single-minded in her art of necromancy. Not inherently dangerous, but very single-minded.
She's very fascinated by life and death, and the two forces mixing together and such.
Also during the talk of blood magic before, William seemed to squirm a little bit at that. To your knowledge.
Yeah. Well, it's important that he begins to listen in on the council to know how his empire is being run.
And after Rifflin being mentioned, he's now giving suspicious looks at Riff.
Whole tapping imperial blood.
Everyone points at Riff for everything these days.
Even Cat's giving a suspicious look.
It's just so suspicious all the time.
It's just so suspicious. Oh, yeah.
This is, of course, just a possibility, a possible way in which this problem could be solved. I was not able to get an exact price as the area in which this would have to be done. The size of that place would have to be cited and determined for how many magical ley lines and frequencies there are in nearby that could be utilized, and how large the area is. Or it's a potential event. If I should continue with my potential thoughts here, another thing. This is from the Volsenbracks, to distinguish it from my treasurer style, have made a considerable headway in researching our newest and most important research system, the repairment, or the recreation of the Imperial teleport system. This, of course, to those who don't remember, is a network that links up the sort of seat of each duchy, so the dukes can come to the capital to sit in council with ease. Simply, a teleportation circle would be placed in each of these places, linked together, and each would be accessed by a unique password. Anyone with a password would be able to travel between the two locations. This would solve many a problem we've had since the destruction of these circles, with outer parts of the Empire being incredibly hard to reach or taking multi-month journeys from one end to the other. We believe this is an utmost important of a project, and we have even been able to gather 2/3 of the money required to make it happen. We simply could not have the last third of the money, and we also, of course, do not have current. We do not have the necessary legal papers to work on Imperial Paladin's grounds, naturally. As such, it would take, if we wish to take it would take 2 months to construct. I would have to pay 75,000 gold. I, as treasurer, would believe that this is a worthwhile effort, and that the treasury can currently sustain it with our current incomes. As in those 2 months, we would almost have paid it back with simple income. It could be rushed, but I do not see a reason to do so.
Rahal moves a little bit in his chair and turns to Lord. I hear what you're saying, Lord, but I'm not sure I see the reason to do this right now. We are still in a state of perhaps famine, right? Isn't it a bit hard to justify such an expenditure when we have people that might be starving? I mean, the dukes and the duchesses are certainly nice people, all of them, but to pay such extravagant fees just so they can travel here quickly.
This is a matter of stability in the Empire, and certainly also a matter of legitimacy for our rule that every Duke and Duchess can bring their concerns to us at equal, which I believe is very important to keep. There certainly has been talks in the in faraway areas that there are favoritism towards those who are close to the Empire, which, well, cannot be avoided at this current location, of course. Another thing is with the food crisis, that it is not really money we lack for food, it is food. We cannot simply produce food with our current treasury, as we don't really have any trade partners outside the Empire that is willing to trade with us. We used to have the elven communities, but their land is no longer suitable for farming.
The only other people that would be capable for trade are too long of a distance to use for food trade. Metals maybe, but food trade is...
Food spoils on the way.
Yes.
Especially when it comes into our waters, apparently.
In which case, we
The nobles have petitioned for such to be rebuilt for a long time, however no one's been put the relevant research in, and times of war have made research a backseat project.
We have this research and we're willing to donate it with any sort of, to further the Empire's cause, really, as is the utmost point of the Wolfenbachs.
do we have all of the research?
The research is done, the work is ready to be started.
Partially
We
thanks
worked
to
quite for long to this.
partially thanks to my old works when it first got destroyed.
Most certainly Alron has helped.
In
The High General finally sits up in his seat for probably the first time in all these council meetings. Looks down the table. Well, one advantage of this is it would make getting to war far quicker. If we can direct troops by simply sending messengers 5 minutes instead of 500 miles, you'd be able to organise a retinue far quicker.
We could, if funding is a problem, always put up a momentary establishment fee, a a thousand gold pieces for an established connection would still pay far to the extent of the construction costs. Of course, this would also mean that the poorer noble families would not get access.